everyone. David Theriault here, your ELA facilitator for the Huntington Beach Unified High School District. And I'm here to talk to you on Friday because instead of doing 3 things Thursday, we're going to do 4 things Friday. Holy smokes, 4 things Friday. Brought to you by Schitt's Creek because maybe distance learning is feeling just a little bit like a wild and crazy adventure in a place that you're not familiar with. And so maybe this show and what I'm about to talk to you about will help you out just a little bit. So let's get started. I'm excited about this. Here we go. Okay, so I got a question last week. So let me move this just a little bit. Holy smokes. Okay. I got a question last week and from a couple of teachers, actually. Well, I threw it out, and then some people were talking about how to get students to turn their cameras on Zoom and Google Meet and any other thing that you're using without kind of forcing them to. And so I sent that out to everybody. I had a couple of responses from some different people. One person said, give the students full participation points just for having them on, like they don't even have to talk. And then that same teacher was like, but I don't know if I want to actually sit down and record that every day. So there was a couple of things talked about, but what I ended up doing was I actually went to my students and I started a Canvas discussion, asking them to talk about like why they have their cameras on or off. And it was a super great read, like really, really good. And so I'm going to actually share this with you as a link in the email, and you might want to take a look at it. It's great. And what I did is I just took 15 of the responses. So I didn't take all the responses, and I shared with you, and I tried to grab responses that had like similar takes. So some of them were just duplicates. I didn't want to have to read through all the duplicates. But so these are 15 different students talking about why they have their cameras on or off and what they think we should do about that. And it's a great read, and I highly recommend kind of wading into that a little bit. It helped me a lot understand what they're going through and what I might need to do about that. And so just wanted to share this with you. Okay. See, I'm trying to figure out where exactly I need to have this so you can see the GIF and then actually, whatever. Okay. So I got another email question, and one of our coworkers or co-teachers said, I'm distance teaching. How can I make sure that I hear the students who are in my classroom? I thought this was another really great question. And so the answer I got is from Brian Boone, who I went by and I stopped by and I socially distanced, talked to Brian a little bit and saw his setup in his room. And Brian has one of these in his classroom. And I'll make sure the link is right in here in the slide that I'm going to share with you. It's an omnidirectional microphone, and it allows you to hear your in-class students better. And it works really well. So you might want to take a look at this. It's on Amazon. It's $29.99. I know we shouldn't be spending any of our own money in the classroom. If you can get it paid for, that's great. But if you just want to buy one for $30, then you can do that. And hopefully it'll help you be able to hear all the students in your classroom better, instead of just that mic that's like right in front of the room. Okay. So, I like making things, and I like my students to make things. And one of the things I like my students to do is I like my students to write poetry. But not all of my students like to write poetry. And some of them, they get stuck. Like they have an idea, but they just really don't know where to go. And I saw this online a couple days ago. It was shared with me, and I thought it was really fun. And so I'm just going to share this with you right now. And it is called Verse by Verse, and it's by Google. And so what it is, it's a site that helps you write poetry that's informed by the poetry of famous poets. So you just go to this Verse by Verse. I have the link right here. Just click on it right here. And you go there and with your students. They can do this at home and at school at the same time. Just take out their Chromebooks. And then you pick which poet you would like to be your muse, or you can pick 2 poets. You can pick up to 3. I decided to just pick one, Emily Dickinson, because I love Emily Dickinson. And I took an Emily Dickinson class, like just on her, when I was at UC Irvine. And it's cool. You can see, you can read about the poet right here. You can go to Wikipedia, you can go to the Poetry Foundation. So you could even, like, in the assignment, you could ask them to, read up about the poet a little bit. And then you pick whether you want it to be a quatrain, a couplet, free verse, how many number of syllables for each line of verse, rhyme, like all these different things. And it's got, like, it even has little descriptions of each one, so the students can kind of find out about that, which I think is really cool. And then you start. So I sat down and I wrote, "The line between day and night is almost invisible." Wow. And then what it does is, over here on the right, it actually tells you, like, you can write your own next line, or it can tell you what they think Emily Dickinson would recommend as her next line. And the student can just click on it, and boom, that becomes the next line. So they can do a mix of, like, their stuff and that stuff, or they might even just see their stuff and get kind of inspired to write their own line just a little bit different. And if you don't like any of the suggestions, you can click this little refresh button and get new suggestions, which I think is pretty cool. And then, you put the whole poem down here and you kind of figure out when you think you're going to be done. If you don't like a line, you can exit out. Just cross out that line. Then when you're done, you hit finish and you get this cool little thing, and you can pick, like, a little background here, and you can download this as an image, which is kind of cool, or copy the text. What might be really nice is to put this inside of a Google slide, maybe ask your at-home students to go outside and take a picture that goes with their poem, or a picture from in their house. Or at school, you could ask the students to go outside in the quad, or to collect a picture when they're at home or something like that, and add it into the Google slide. Then you could have them all share them inside of a Canvas discussion so everybody could see each other's all at once. And boom, you got yourself a poetry lesson, courtesy of Google. Thanks, Google. All right, last thing. So, as you know, every once in a while, I like exploring the internet, although I really, honestly, I'm not online very much anymore because I've been a little busy, as we all have. But today, I went onto Twitter and I saw this. I don't know this person, but I just started following her because I like the fact that she's sharing things she's doing in the classroom. And she uses this children's book, Windows, to review symbolism, which I thought was, like, a really cool idea. I looked at it and you could see, like, all the different things that the windows kind of symbolize on these Post-its here that she put on the cover of it. And it made me start thinking about the children's books that I use in my class to either introduce a unit or to introduce an activity. One of my favorites when I have students, when we just first start talking about plot-driven writing, I love reading this children's book. I owned this when I was a kid. It's called Fortunately. And in it, it's this story about this young boy who's trying to get to a birthday party, and fortunately, and then unfortunately, and it just goes back and forth, unfortunately, the plane blew up, but fortunately he had a parachute. Unfortunately, the parachute had a hole. Fortunately, there was a haystack on the ground. Unfortunately, the haystack had a pitchfork in it, just back and forth. And what I'll do is I'll actually have the students take out a piece of paper, get together with a partner, and then one of them writes the fortunately part and one of them writes the unfortunately part. And we talk about how conflict and resolution, protagonist, antagonist, how those kind of really drive stories. And then they end up sharing their stories, and they're really fun. So my request for all of you is, what children's books do you use in your high school English class, and how do you use them? Please let me know. So if you could email me back a reply with a children's book that you use for an activity, and then give me permission to share it with the rest of us, that would be super cool, like really cool. And I know sometimes people don't want somebody to use something like the year before they use it. But so let's say if, Miss Hunkel at Fountain Valley High School is sharing it, then all of the teachers at the other schools can use it because nobody's going to steal Miss Hunkel's, fire from out from under her. And then if we're here at Fountain Valley, we can maybe just find out what grade level Miss Hunkel uses it at and make sure to use it after her or at the same grade level or something like that. So, but if you could share what children's books you use and how you use them, I think we would all appreciate it. Okay. Hope you liked 4 Things Friday. Hope you got something out of it. Take care, everyone. I care about all of you. Stay safe. Best wishes. Bye.